Hello and welcome to Above All Else, a podcast for women looking to grow in their relationship with Jesus Christ. I am Brianna Ferdrowski here with Emily Bird and Jen Kish, and we're so excited just to be with you guys another week. Emily, how's it been going down in the hot town of Augusta?
And it is hot, and I really hope that we get some rain. Rain has missed us the last two nights. There's been thunder. It's rained all around us, but hasn't hit us yet. So, anyways, it has been hot, but it's been a good summer. Definitely not the summer that I had planned. A lot of unexpected things, some health issues with my dad, and Jason Bird, he'd probably shoot me if I was saying that he had a terrible bout of food poisoning over July 4th, and he has been a sick fella. He's back. He's not normal, but he's back. And so, anyways, just a lot of extra stuff that was not in the agenda. But it's been a nice summer so far. I've been really busy just prepping for a new role at Classical Conversations, what my girls and I do for homeschooling, and so it's been learning lots and lots of Latin and. Anyways, it's been fun. So, but definitely a different summer, not the restful summer that I'd really hoped for. But we are going to the pool here in just a little bit. So, the weekend is here. Let's celebrate.
There you go. That's awesome. Jen, what about you? Because you're preparing to send kids to college and all kinds of things.
Yeah, so we have one flying the nest in about 4 weeks here. And the way our house works with so many kids is that a lot of them share bedrooms, but because one is going, then two actually end up with their own rooms because one will move into the empty room and then the other will be alone in her own room. So we're doing a lot of remodeling and moving things around and paint projects and freshening things up. So I definitely didn't have that on my radar because she kind of decided late that she was going to go away and live on campus. So that has just been the last couple of weeks. We love stuff like that. It's really fun. So it's been an exciting time, and so lots of change starting next week. Like a lot of change is coming, but it's all good stuff right now, and hopefully we'll close out the summer at least with get everyone in their places, and then be able to start school once all of the transition is complete. So it's good, busy but good.
There you go. And I love that painting behind you. I'm just like, it caught my eye last night, and it's just, I've literally been staring at it. And I know we had a conversation about all the things there, but I just wanted to say that everybody needs to.
This is her yard sale find. She found it for $3 at a yard sale. And my 14-year-old is all things decor and design, and she's got a color palette she's working from. And this is actually all of her stuff gathered up that she's going to be moving into her new room. So this is her color palette, you guys.
I love it.
Here's I love it. So
anyway, it's super
fun.
House.
Yeah, she needs to do some work here for me. For
my goal, there were so many goals for the summer. Goals to paint this room, goals to paint my bedroom, goals to clean out my attic. Nope, hasn't happened. I did start on the attic, but no, we just got back from Ecuador. I guess I've been back for just under 2 weeks at this point, but the week we came back was really a recovery week. We had some issues with our flight got canceled on the way back from Miami, and so I don't sleep really on planes unless it's more than 10 hours. And so went about 36 hours with no sleep, and then the stress of trying to get our group rebooked to go to Birmingham, which was fine. And the Lord provided, and as he does, we were just stranded for an extra, I say stranded, I mean, like we were in the airport. We just didn't want to go back through TSA, so we didn't leave just for an extra 12 hours. But so that meant that the week that we came back, Monday, I hit the ground running to get my girls, do all the things. And then Tuesday, I literally said, I think I am about to die. And so really, it was not death. I actually went to the extent because I was bitten by a monkey in Ecuador. and which I'm fine. I mean, like he just like nibbled. He's fine. But I went to the extent I said, Joseph, I think I have rabies. I have all of these symptoms, and then that Bobit was it Elijah? No, Elisha. Who was it? Which one of them needed a nap and a snack? Elisha.
Oh, you're talking about yes, underneath the
Elisha.
broom tree.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what. And
No, I think it's Elijah.
it's Elijah.
It's,
Okay,
I think it's Elijah. Maybe it is Elisha. I don't
well,
know.
it is
Don't trust
written
me.
that somewhere in the Bible, someone needed a nap and a snack, or not a yeah.
Yes.
And in reality, what needed to happen was I
It's
needed to
Elisha.
sleep. So I slept for 13 hours that Tuesday, and I drank a lot of water. I was dehydrated, and then I woke up Wednesday, and I was like, I'm a new woman. So nothing has gotten accomplished. Oh, bless you. Nothing has gotten accomplished at my house, but just because we've been recovering and then unpacking and bags that have arrived late from Ecuador, but it's been good. So, a busy but good summer. So, all right. So we left off. Jen and I were talking really about social media and how it impacts our self worth. And we talked a little bit about some of the scientific, like the statistics of it, and just spiritually what it does and how do we spiritually like what we're consuming is what's coming out of us. But Emily, we really desire to hear your heart on this topic. So I guess I'm trying to narrow it down because I know if I'm just like, here's a very broad way to take this. What are some practical, I guess that's what we really want to hear is what are some practical ways that you have implemented or you are implementing or plan to implement, just ways to what our job is to protect our kids from things that we can protect them from, right? Like not to introduce them to things that they shouldn't be introduced to it at a young age. And so what do you and Jason do? What are your plans? Are you doing anything differently with, Lindsay and Aaron than you did with Claire and Adeline? Like, what does that look like in the birdhouse? I hope that narrows it down a little bit. I'm so sorry. I know that's such a broad topic, but we want to hear from you.
Well, with the last podcast, I think you and Jen covered this very, very well. Oh, by the way, Elijah, it is Elijah because it was after he defeated the prophets of Baal, and then he runs from Jezebel,
That was it.
and
Yes.
so yeah, it's Elijah.
Sorry. Thank
But
you.
I had to think back to the story in my head, and I started looking. I was like, I know this. So, what do we do? I think you guys covered this really, really well in the last podcast. But so I appreciate that you want to know about me. 'Cause I do not have it down pat. I will tell you, I have a love-hate relationship with social media. My sister actually put it on my phone in or not, it wasn't even on my phone. It was like computer, the big old desktop computer. She got me on Facebook. I think it's in 2006. And I was like, I loved it. And I was in charge of, I'm the president of my class. And so trying to plan class reunions, which I should be planning the 30th class reunion this summer. And that hasn't happened. I can't believe I can say 30 years that I've been out of school. But planning the first one versus planning the second one when I had social media, it made it so much easier. And I'm finding all of these friends. And like, I just loved being able to connect with people. And then I did not realize how it was sucking me in. And as Facebook had, improved and you can learn all the things now. It really does change the way not only that we communicate with each other, but even the way that I begin to see myself. And I'm beginning to, this is not my term, but I'm comparing myself with everyone's highlight reel. And I did not see how it was sneaking in on me and how it's affecting the way that I even want to parent. But it became eye-opening to me after I started homeschooling in 2012. And no, excuse me, I started homeschooling in 2011, but 2012, I always make every year. I still do this. I make a like a Shutterfly book, and it just shows us what like I've got the girls' portfolios, but I also have pictures of what we've been doing through the school year. I do that for myself. Um, but there was an option on Shutterfly to, do you want to share this on Facebook? Do you want to share it with the world? And I was like, well, yes, I do. I needed that affirmation from everybody else that, okay, and at that time, I knew very few people who homeschooled. My aunt, my good friend Cindy, but there was nobody in my church who was homeschooling. I was definitely making a decision that was different, and from the main people that I hang with. And so I'm like, okay, yes, I am going to share that. And it, it was eye opening to me how the affirmation that I received from that, what it did to my spirit. And I began to make sure that I wanted to post more things. And there was about 6 months that, and if you could scroll back to my Facebook feed, you would never ever do that from 2012, but you would see like I was feeding this monster, and I didn't realize what I was doing until I posted something about Jesus, and I can't now exactly remember what it was, but I got my first really negative response, and what that did to my spirit. I was like, oh my goodness, I am giving this too much control in my life. And I didn't even see it happening until that first really ugly comment. And then made me begin to question. And it was like, it changed my whole attitude that day from that one ugly comment. And I was like, I have given this way too, it has become an idol. And so, anyways, long story short, that in probably 2012, 2013 began my battle with social media. And so I've turned it off my phone. I've turned it on. I hide the icon where I won't automatically um, find it. But then now that we have this above all else podcast going on, I know I have to have social media. So what I do now is there's a 15-minute timer. I can be on Facebook for 15 minutes, but yet, that little thing pops up and says, do you want to increase for 15 more minutes, or do you want to ignore? Or, yes, let's go ahead and set your boundary. And it takes everything in me to say, okay, I want to set the boundary. I don't want any more than 15 minutes. So that's something I do for myself. Again, I will periodically I take breaks, and I just have to hide the icon. If I don't see the Facebook thing, then I don't click on it. So I did that for years and years until this. So knowing how weak, and I would not have told you that I was a weak person. I would tell you that I'm pretty strong-willed, and I don't have too much trouble with temptation, but that is one that I really succumbed to. So I've told my girls this story over and over, and I don't know if that telling, especially my older girls, if that them knowing my story made them not want social media. But I will tell you, Adeline was she was like, I don't want it. She really did stay away from it. She's like, I don't have time for it. And she just didn't want to be sucked in. Clara didn't necessarily say she didn't want it, but she was kind of following along in her sister's footsteps. It wasn't anything that we really had to push with her. Like, Clara, I'm not going to, you can't have this until you're 18. We didn't have to have that talk. I would let them, they would see things going on at church, or they would look on people's their friends on my Facebook page. And so it wasn't like they didn't any access to it. I think there's a fine line there. It's like, okay, you can have access to it, but here I'm right here beside of you. We're gonna use it together. So I think about a girl I knew who her mom never let her have any kind of sugar growing up at all. And even she talks about one time even getting a spanking for chewing bubble gum on the way home from a music lesson. And the teacher had given her the bubble gum. And so when she got out on her own, then it was like, I can do anything I want to. And so it's like I went hog wild with sugar. So it's like there's some training that I think we need to give to our children, because I do think, I mean, the way of life right now is social media is the way to connect. And I will say Adeline ended up getting social media in college because she learned the hard way. She went one whole year without trying to do any social media. And she's like, I'm getting to know people face to face. And she said, I know their names, I know about them. She said, nobody knows me. They find each other on Instagram or on, she said it was eye opening. She said, I found out that I really, really needed it. If I'm going to make connections here amongst all these people that I don't know on this campus, I need social media. And so she ended up making her social media account. Claire did hers shortly after that. And it's like, okay, if you're going to be an Instagram, guess what? I am too. So I'm going to be in your space. I don't care if you are 18. I'm there with you. So I'm now on Instagram as well, and I'm on Facebook. But again, I have to set those timers, and and I say timers. What are they called?
Screen
Is it
time.
called timers?
It's called screen
Screen
time.
time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, screen time. So I set that screen time, and I'll say, hey, your 15 minutes is up. And it'll give you a little warning. You've got 5 minutes left. You better scroll quick. So, but I find that if I don't have that up, that screen time, I will waste 30 minutes and not, and it goes by so quickly. So that's one thing I do, but so what am I going to do differently between my big girls and my little girls? Um, we just had this conversation this week with Lindsay, and she's 14 going on 15, and uh we gave our children, and I've been saying for years, they were 15, no, for 14 and a half. It was the Christmas before they before 10th grade. So it's right before they began to drive. And so Lindsay's like, this is the Christmas I get my phone. And she's so excited. I'm like, Lindsay, you and I have been praying about this for a long time, and I don't think that I'm going to give her like an iPhone, what we did for our big girls. Um, Adeline has said over and over, and Clara will reiterate, Mom, when you give them that phone, that iPhone, it's like you're handing them the world. And both of them have said their childhood was officially over when they got their iPhone. Um, and I don't, we've had some issues as far as things popping up on the phone, even when you have blocks. Um, and Adeline, actually, she and I talked about this morning. I was telling her about mine and Lindsay's conversation, and she said, Mom, there's so many ads that come up. She said, even when you have all of these parameters set up, she said, somehow they make it through. She said, there's so many things that I don't want. Lindsay right now and Aaron are both, they have such innocent eyes, and they are still naive. And it's not that they haven't seen certain things, and it's not they don't know about it. We have these discussions, but I just have to protect them. And so my conversation with Lindsay on Tuesday of this week was, you are my responsibility. And when I give you the world in your hands, then guess what? That's coming in. I have let my guard down. I'm like, okay, world, have her. I can't do that right now. So she will get some kind of phone. It may be one of those Gab phones. I know Jen your girls used to have that. I don't know if they still do or not. I want to talk to you about that. But so my girls are probably going to be pariahs amongst their friend group. I was very, very encouraged though. I had said last night I had a orientation at my house on Wednesday. And so I'm teaching 7th grade. And so the 7th grade parents came, and I told them, I was like, invite, and it's going to be a class full of girls. We have no boys right now. And so I was like, bring your daughters. Not only do I want to talk to them, but it will be great for them to just kind of hang out upstairs. I've got some things for them to do. And when I went upstairs, all of these seventh grade girls are playing American Girls. They're decorating their dolls and they're braiding their hair. And it was so sweet and so innocent. And it was just balm for my soul. And one of the things that is so different is the fact that not a single one of them have phones. We had a D now a few years ago, and I was hosting sixth graders. We had a house full of sixth graders. Like I think there were 17. But anyways, it was such a sweet group, but there were three girls who were noticeably different from that group of sixth grade girls, and they were the ones who had the phones. And I'm not saying they were bad. They were, it was just, they were worldly. It was so easy to see the difference in their personality and even the things that we're talking about in the kitchen. As I'm talking to each individual one, um, it was eye-opening to me. So that's when Jason Bird and I began to discuss, like, we really need to think twice about when we're going to give our children phones. And but social media, it'll come at 18. So back to social media. I don't think they can handle the comparison. I don't think they're mature enough to handle it. So anyways, that was really long. I'm so sorry.
No, it
I'm
was
just running my
great.
trap.
It was great. Well, and I am glad you said though that you don't that 18, like you don't think that they're old enough. I'm going to reference it one more time, but that book, The Anxious Generation, once again was written by a man who is a proclaimed atheist, and so I'm not saying that it is biblical by any means, but he talks about like I was listening to it earlier this morning, like I audio booking it while I was cleaning my room, and um, because there are not restrictions put into place to validate like ages, younger
Right.
kids are being exposed to these things. So, anyway, if you want to let your local congressman know that there needs to be things, you can do that. There's also groups like something before 8th. No, something. Wait till 8th. Sorry, I read your lips. Like I couldn't hear you. Wait till 8th. Yeah. And even at 8th grade, though, I feel is still too
It's
young.
too young.
I
That's
Yeah.
still too
agree.
young. I mean, cognitively speaking, we're talking about a prefrontal cortex
Mhm.
being, the myelin sheath being hardened, and you're not there for another, I don't know, 10 years ish. And so 25, yeah, about 10 years. So,
Yeah.
no, I appreciate that you said that. And I think that this conversation lends itself then to the next kind of segue, and that is as believers, as Christians, how do we raise up a generation of kids in a world where it's going to be, I mean, it's always being Christian's never been like the popular thing, even though there were moments of revival and all these things, right? Like, it's never been like, oh, it was so easy for these people. But with social media, makes it much harder for our generation, especially since, or not my generation, sorry, our kids, because they are exposed to so much more. So, how do we raise kids with biblical values in a modern culture? What does that need to look like? I mean, we know what it needs to look like, we know biblically, but what does it look like to raise kids with biblical values? How do we instill those in them? Because we are living in a modern world, and I don't think that we as Christians can say, well, we're just not going to have anything to do with social media, right? Because there has to be a voice. Like, kind of like you said, like, above all else, like we started this and you kind of had to download social media. Sorry. But like, how do we, there has to be a voice because there are so many voices on social media, in this modern culture that are speaking against. So there has to be a representative, right? We can't just cower and be like, well, we're not going to engage, right? We have to engage. And I think obviously as adults, we can do that. But how do we raise kids? And Jen, I'm going to toss this one to you, but what are some practical steps that we take to begin the process of raising and instilling biblical values into our children in a modern world where it's not popular, it's not the thing to do, there's voices talking back. What are some practical ways that maybe you do that, or things that you have seen people do that you would take away from? Jen, okay, I'm so glad Emily made that face because I can't actually hear you. I'm sorry. It doesn't look like you're muted, but I also have been having head problems with my headphones, so I just want to make
Okay.
sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay.
perfect.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so it's a pretty loaded question, right? Like, how do we raise kids in this culture that don't look like they're raised in this culture, who don't come out of it, looking like the world? And the Bible says clearly, be in the world, but not of the world. And that is the challenge. So, a few practical things that we've done is just keeping our kids off of things like social media. We control the music, we control the television shows, and it's like what Emily was saying. You can't be like the mom who wouldn't allow her child to have any sugar at all, because then as soon as they get access to it, that's when they lose control. They don't know how to manage it. So my husband is super good at balancing me where I think, oh, we shouldn't, do any of these things. He's like, well, I think this is okay and this is okay and this is okay. So, things that we try to do together. Like the movies that the kids watch, a lot of times if they're going to stay up late and watch a movie, they're going to watch it with their dad. So that if it's age appropriate, right? Like, especially my older kids now, obviously they're getting older and they're not needing as much, hands-on parenting from mom and dad. But if there are things that they watch that, are worldly, and it's not anything bad, but my husband thinks it's important that they see like historical, movies that, what are they, like this, like the war
Yes.
things, that have some elements of things that we wouldn't allow for our 8 and 10-year-olds, but just being careful to introduce them to things at an age appropriate time. And I think that's the situation that we run into, just circling it back to the social media, is that parents are just giving it too soon. There has to be some accountability. There has to be some understanding. If we're giving third graders cell phones, and I know our audience must think that we harp on this all the time, but it just continues to astound me, the number of parents who just don't know what their kids are being exposed to. So we know the average age of exposure to pornography is the third grade now. It's probably younger than that. That's a little bit of old data. But if your kid doesn't have the phone, Jimmy sitting next to him does, and he's watching whatever mom and dad watch. So if mom and dad aren't careful about what they're watching or what they're exposed to, then they're definitely not monitoring what little Jimmy is watching. So, we're super careful about where our kids go, especially, we don't do things like sleepovers until you're old enough to be able to navigate making decisions on your own of what you should interact with, and which that's very late. That's very late. And we probably are a little bit earlier with our big guy. I mean, he's old now, but girls feel like, I don't know, just feel like they need more protection. So we're super careful about immersing them in the world. We're very careful about their friendships, how much time they spend with friends, what time they spend time with, who they're talking to. It's a lot, right? I feel like that we are constantly putting out fires or battling, whether there's this, whether it's cell phones or television or music or, vaping, drugs, all of those extreme things that we have now. I feel like parents today are just battling fires almost at every turn. So we touched a bit on this on the live about just praying that God will send the right people, the right adults, the right kids, the right friends. And I love what you said, Emily. And that he'll remove the ones that aren't right, you know? And then my favorite thing to do, I remember you and I talking about this, Emily, is the scary prayer that I pray very often, that if, you know, there are things in my home being hidden from me, that the Lord would bring them to light. And that's what the Bible says. The Bible says, you know, that the Lord will uncover what is done in darkness. Because if we don't know about the things, then we cannot discuss them. And then just don't be afraid to talk about anything. I think in our home, we talk about all the things all the time. You just have to be open and honest about what's going on. I don't mind a bit telling my kids, this is why you can't have social media, because I don't want you to be exposed to these things, you know, or this is why you can't do, you know, be honest. And I will tell them, I don't parent from fear, but I am afraid of what the internet will do to you. Because what we are seeing is kids who are destroyed, their souls are destroyed before they're adults. And so it's almost, I do think I think it's a form of child abuse. I think it's neglect. And I think it does not give our kids a good start in life. So I think that we just have to be not controlling, but very intentional about what we allow and what we don't. And I know we're going to finish this conversation more. Brianna and Emily get to hear your side of it, but that's my piece of it for now.
No, I love that. And you worded it so perfectly, and I don't know. Thank you for sharing that. Both of you did a phenomenal job. I just am so thankful that I get to sit with, like, and just because I'm the one who's growing up with not growing up, I'm sorry. I'm raising these two younger girls, and so like being able to see what you guys have done and what you have seen to be successful, and even if we did our first person came over and slept over at our house this weekend, and it's a college age, like our no, hold on. Our best friends from college. I know I just saw Emily's eyes. Our best friends from college. They got a little big when I said it was a college age kid coming to sleep. No, our best friends from college just moved back here from Kentucky, and they have a daughter that is Braylee's age. And so we've been friends and so we did our first, I mean, obviously she was at our house, so I knew she's 100% safe. Like, I got this girl. She's basically like my kid. But yeah, no, sleepovers are a place where we've been like, not, no, I'm sorry, we won't send. So it makes me feel a little bit better knowing that I am not alone in that, especially as I am still learning. And according to Braylee, I've raised Kaylin, what'd she say to me the other day? You raised me, so you should know how to raise Kaylin. Those were her words to me. And I said, well, I don't. I said, I made it up with you, and I'm making it up with her. But we are so excited to finish this conversation in a couple of weeks. I know there's so much more to say about how to raise up a generation of Jesus lovers and people who just truly are biblically founded. And we have to set that early. You know, we don't want them to be those prodigals and they might be, and that's not a us thing, but we can rest secured that we have done what the Lord has called us to do. And so that is our goal. And so we're going to talk more about that in a couple of weeks. But we are so excited that you joined us today. And for those of you who joined us on the live, we are so excited. We look forward to more of those in the future. And you guys can follow us on social media we do have a TikTok. My husband did go and make a TikTok for Reels. So that's a thing. But we have Instagram and Facebook, and you can interact with us. Let us know if there's something we talk about that just sticks out to you. Oh, sorry, Jen.
I keep muting my mic because I'm doing the thing, but I was just letting them know that none of us are on TikTok, so we won't be able to talk to them there. So,
right.
You know, if you find us there, come over and talk to us on Grandma Facebook.
Right, there you go. We will link that there so you can come talk to us. But no, we just love getting to just to do this, not just for an audience of people, but for the three of us. It's a good time. So we will talk to you guys in a couple of weeks, and we will see you later.